All right. Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Not one of Roberto's better songs. But it's Monday. Stoney's still here.
Yes.
You're listening to the Valenti Serial with Rico. Mike still off. Stoney sitting in for Mike. He'll be back. Mike will be back. Stoney, let's get it right. It's two mics. Stoney will be back tomorrow as well.
And then Friday when you are actually off, even though you forgot that you were off.
Right. You'll be here.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be the Mike and Mike show. Mm-hmm. So, going to throw a little bit of a curveball.
Okay.
NFL Combine yesterday.
I watched
all weekend.
I watched a little bit of it.
We saw a little bit of it on Friday. So I do want to ask Lions fans out there a question for those who watched. Because there was some highlights, some very notable moments. I mean, my goodness. Xavier Worthy, shoes are still smoking as he ran a 4.21. Like, wow. On his second run, not the first one.
Oh, I know.
Because normally your first run is your best run. He went back, said, I wanted to do it again. You watch the quarterback drills. You're out there. You're watching Penix. You're watching JJ. You're watching the big fellas, doing the, moving around, doing the offensive line, defensive line drills. So my question is this for Lions fans out there, for those who watched the Combine, who'd you fall in love with? Because you did. I know you did. It was somebody that you're saying, wow, I wish he was there for the Lions. Who is the guy that if you were Brad Holmes, you would actually think about trading up to get? 248-539-9797. Who is the guy, after watching the Combine, that you're like so infatuated with, you're hoping Brad Holmes makes that move? Brad Holmes saw what you saw. Brad Holmes saw that person and said, we got to get this guy here. He's going to look great in Honolulu blue and silver. Who is that guy? Stoney, I'm normally not reserved to fall in love with a guy because Brad Holmes breaks your heart because he never takes the one that you want.
I know. We both wanted Jalen Carter.
Right.
It worked out pretty well so far.
It has. But I'm going to go back to defense. I'm going to go to a position that I think that the Lions need. And I'm going to go to a player who played roughly about, 40, 50 miles away from Detroit. I'm going to go with Quentin Mitchell.
Oh.
Cornerback.
He's your Sauce Gardner. There's no
Toledo,
doubt. There's no doubt.
You missed out on Sauce.
Yeah.
He went out there. He ran a 4.33 40. I mean, this guy, I think, presented himself to come off as cornerback number one. He'll be the first one taken in the draft. You're probably going to have to move up. Now, the good news is a lot of quarterbacks are going to get taken first. A lot of receivers are going to get taken. So I don't think you got to move up as much to get him, but it would require you to go up there. I mean, the funny thing was, and I know, their careers could be different, but they did the comparison with him and Sauce Gardner running that 40,
right? And
he beat Sauce Gardner. It's like, this may be your chance to go out there and get a cornerback, a lockdown. No, I know. The last time when Sauce Gardner was there, you didn't want to do that because of the last corner you took so high, and it didn't work out.
Well, they also took Aiden there, too. So.
No. I know, but It was like just saying Sauce Gardner's name was like, oh, you can't,
Right, yeah, right, because of Okudah.
Jeff Okudah, and there was no chance. But now that I think you're better, it's a position of need. You don't have to worry about trading with anybody, going out and trying to get somebody in free agency. You can lock up your own guy and have him for the next 5 years. So that was my guy. Watching the Combine, I'm like, man, Quentin Mitchell, cornerback from Toledo, he's got everything that you need. He's got everything, if you're a Lions fans, that you want out there. He's cute. He's cornerback one. CB1, head and shoulders. That was my guy. 248-539-9797. Was there a person that you saw and you're like, in your world, man, I wish Brad Holmes would move up, take this guy, because this guy could be the piece for the Lions?
There were two guys I really liked, but they wouldn't be guys that would be really impactful this year because of the position they play and who's already on the team. I kind of fell in love with a beaver. Fuaga of Oregon State. But they really don't need an offensive tackle right now. They will down the road with Taylor Decker, though. You put Fuaga and Sewell, that's a decade. And I watched some highlights of him, too. He's a mauler.
Does Decker have one more year on this contract?
Yes.
Yes. Okay?
Okay.
It can work out.
Yeah,
Really good.
It could work out.
He could drop, or they wouldn't have to pick that high. The other one is also an offensive lineman. And they wouldn't have to trade up that far. And it's a position of need because of Jonah Jackson will probably be let go. And you'll keep Glasgow, but that's all a short-term thing. And that's the kid from the other part of the state of Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson. Guard, can play a little center, versatile. Who knows with Ragnow? I mean, I know the center from West Virginia, everybody loved Frazier. I mean, he broke his leg, and then 3 months later, he's out in the combine. That would be awesome, but I wouldn't take a center in the first round when you already have Ragnow, even though he has his injury concerns. But those two offensive linemen, I love them.
But see, I'm looking at the Oregon State right tackle for the same reason why, if you took a center, both guys, if they come – Ragnow comes back, you're probably going to get another year out of him.
Right.
Decker, contract's up.
Yeah.
And maybe you just move on and you go younger, controllable, because that way you can sign some of your players that are due right now. Stoney, I'm not mad at it. You went with the sensible picks. Yeah. You went with the linemen. Linemen are not sexy. There's not a lot of sizzle with them.
Right. I mean, look, maybe it's not being realistic as far as going from 29 to 8. Or 7 or, top 10 to get Verse, because he looked really damn good too. And so did the other kid from Florida State, the transfer from Western Michigan.
Braden Fisk.
Yes.
Braden Fisk.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You may be able to actually get him without moving up.
Well, then
he may slide down. Now, he went there, and, Combine was very helpful for him.
Yeah.
Like him and like some people who just went out there and did, like, some phenomenal things. You may be able to get him. Okay, you could pair him with Aiden Hutchinson, and I think you got Aiden a playmate, because that's always been my other big thing, that you got to get somebody on the other side.
Right.
But I think cornerback is just a glaring need for this team. So 248-539-9797. Was there somebody you saw this weekend you fell in love with, and you're like, man, this kid would look good playing for the Lions? You hope that Brad Holmes saw exactly what you saw, and he's going to end up becoming a Lion with that first pick.
Well, the other thing on Mitchell is, Brad Holmes, he won't take a cornerback there.
Until he does.
Yeah, and until he would have if Seattle didn't take Weatherspoon last year.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody pretty much acknowledges the fact that if Seattle would have gone a different direction, the Lions would have taken Weatherspoon, and that would have been a really damn good pick.
And the funny thing is I think that now Lions fans are finally over Jeff Okudah-itis.
Yes, they are.
Okay? Because you won some playoff games. I think Jeff Okudah is now flushed out of the system that it's okay to go get a corner high in the draft. You don't have to worry about, well, what if this guy's a bust? Because Witherspoon turned out to be pretty good, and Holmes knew what he was doing. He just wasn't available.
Right. The reason why I think we're over Jeff Okudah-itis is because the person who inflicted that disease, it doesn't work here anymore.
It doesn't. But it's still, man, fans were gunshot. It's like,
I know.
You know what, Stoney, I don't know what it is about Detroit people. It was like trades for the longest. If you traded away a prospect, how many times you had to hear about John Smoltz if you were the Tigers? But they got rid of Smoltz, dude.
Yeah.
You weren't alive when they made that trade.
Right, and who knows if John Smoltz would have been that good here.
Right, but it's same when it comes to a cornerback that I think a lot of people are just so, oh my goodness, you can't take a corner. Jeff Okudah sucked, blah, blah. I look at that, I'm like, man, you got to go out there. You can get this guy. Quentin Mitchell from Toledo could be your number one corner. You can move Sutton over. You can do whatever you want in free agency. But I think you're going to have your lockdown guy for at least the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And you may have to move up to get him, but I think it's worth the move.
Well, here's the other thing. Not that they would get him anyway. Would you rather do that and give up some draft capital to move up, or not do that and spend a boatload of money on Snead?
See, I would just move up and get your own guy. That's just me. I know. 248-539-9797. Who's the guy you fell in love with? Who's the guy that you want to see the Lions go make that move for? You watched the Combine all weekend. Who did you walk away most impressed with? We will get what David and Kenny thinks and what you think next. 97.1.